Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk back into the video day. And the other day, the Houston Rockets announced their 2024-25 season schedule. And sorry, guys, that I haven't made a video on the Rockets schedule announcement yet. I've been super busy, in these last couple days, and tried to do it last night, but I was exhausted. And with the Texans playing today, and I went to the game. I went to the Texans game. Hadn't had the time to do it until 5 o'clock. But great Texans win, though, 28-10, if you are a Texans fan as well. But let's get into this schedule announcement because the Rockets announced their schedule for the 2024-25 season Thursday afternoon, about 48 hours ago. And I want to go over what this schedule looks like. I think this is a good schedule, and I plan on doing a separate video for record predictions. Right now, I just want to go over the schedule, my thoughts on the schedule. Now, a first little bit of a thing that I'm a little bit upset about is not enough national television games. Only three for the Rockets, and that upsets me. It kind of does, because this is a team that had two last year. The Rockets had two national television games, one ESPN game against the Clippers, and then one TNT game against the Thunder. So this is a Rockets team that had a 24 win improvement. I believe so. The Rockets went from having 17 wins to 41 wins. If I'm correct, it actually might have been 25 win improvement. No, it wasn't. The Rockets went 17-65 in the 2022-23 season, and then this season 41-41. So 24 win improvement, and a Rockets team that is probably one of the youngest teams in the NBA, has one of the brightest futures. They have a lot of talent that a lot of people were interested in last year, and went 41-41. And their national television games goes from 2 to 3. I don't understand how a 24 win improvement team only has one extra national television game. I would have liked to see maybe 4 or 5. But I will say the Rockets do have a little bit of a good they have a lot of NBA TV games, which is they're not national television games, but that is them getting spotlight. I mean, they have a total of, I'm trying to count, they got 3, that's 4. They have a total of 8 now. They have a total of 8 NBA TV games. So 3 national television games, with 1 ESPN game and 2 TNT games, and then 8 NBA TV games. So they have 11 games out of 82 where everybody can watch the game. So, that's not everybody has NBA TV, though, so that's another thing. But, that's not terrible. If you look at the NBA TV games, I think 8 NBA TV games are pretty good. But I would have loved to see 4 or 5, really national television games where it's TNT and ESPN. I think with a great coach like Ime Udoka and such a good young team that was so terrible in the 2022-23 season, and then had that much of an improvement in one season, you'd only expect them to be better with an improving roster compared to last season. So that's upsetting. But I want to go over the actual schedule now, because things start off with the first 2 games at Toyota Center. You love to see it. Last year, the Rockets' first 2 games, their first 2 games were road games against the Orlando Magic and the San Antonio Spurs. But then after those first 2 road games, I believe the Rockets had it was something like a 4 or 5, maybe 6 game homestand after that. There was a huge homestand for the Rockets after the first 2 games on the road. But Rockets start off the season this year with 2 home games against the Charlotte Hornets and the Memphis Grizzlies. So John Moran and the Grizzlies will be in town. Both of those games are at 7 o'clock Wednesday and Friday at the October 23rd and October 25th. Then the Rockets on Saturday, October 26th, will feature their first back-to-back of the 2024-25 season, and that will be against the San Antonio Spurs at 7:30. Then Monday, October 28th, it'll be another matchup against the San Antonio Spurs at 7 o'clock. So back-to-back games in San Antonio. I really love the matchups where you face a team back-to-back games, and it kind of feels like a baseball series. In just a second, you're going to see another one for the Rockets, but this one will be a home series, but we'll get to that in just a second. But after this 2 games against the San Antonio Spurs, the Rockets play on Halloween, October 31st, Thursday. So they have a couple extra days. They have an extra day off, playing the Dallas Mavericks at 7:30. Then Stephen Curry and the Golden State Warriors will open up the month in a 3-game homestand in November 2nd, against the Rockets. So Curry will be in town at 7 o'clock. And this is a little bit of a weird time start. 7:45 on Monday, November 4th, against the New York Knicks. And then another game against the San Antonio Spurs. So how about this? It is the first 8 games of the season for the Rockets. They play the San Antonio Spurs 3 times. I'm not a big fan of that. Wednesday, November 6th, against the Spurs at 7 o'clock in Houston. I would have loved to see those a little more scattered around. I don't mind the back-to-back to start off the season, but I would have loved to see the final 2 games against the San Antonio Spurs a little more separated. I think later games against the Spurs, like February, March, are great potential games. But we're getting them all early, and I believe the Rockets play the Spurs in the preseason as well. It's going to be a lot of the Spurs in a couple months. Then Friday, November 8th, will be the Oklahoma City Thunder in OKC at 7 o'clock. An early game on a Sunday, November 10th, against the Detroit Pistons in Detroit will be a 2 o'clock game. Then Monday, back at home, that opens up a 3-game homestand against the Washington Wizards at 7 o'clock. And then here was the other back-to-back I was talking about, against the Los Angeles Clippers. Both games at 7 o'clock Wednesday and Friday, the 13th and the 15th. So those will be some fun games right there. One of those games is a in-season tournament game. The Clippers is an in-season tournament game on November 15th. But that will be James Harden returning to Houston again. Sunday, November 17th, the Rockets will go to Chicago, travel to Chicago on the 17th, Sunday. Then a back-to-back, as they'll go to Milwaukee Monday the 18th. Then the Rockets will go back home for a 3-game homestand Wednesday, November 20th against the Indiana Pacers. And then another 2-game back-to-back home, back-to-back home, series. And this is an actual back-to-back as well, because on the 22nd, the Rockets will face the Blazers at 7 o'clock. And then Saturday, November 23rd, the Rockets will face the Blazers. Then on the 26th of November, the Rockets will face the Minnesota Timberwolves at 7 o'clock. And another back-to-back for the Rockets. A lot of back-to-backs early on. Wednesday, November 27th, against the Philadelphia 76ers at 6 o'clock. That's going to be a tough matchup. Then to open up the month of December, the Rockets will face the Oklahoma City Thunder at 6 o'clock. And the Rockets will face the Sacramento Kings Tuesday in Sacramento on December 3rd. Then December 5th against the Golden State Warriors in Golden State at 9 o'clock on NBA TV. Another game against the Clippers, 3rd matchup against the Clippers, Sunday, December 8th at 8 o'clock in LA. That's a little bit of an early game for a West Coast game. But that is a Sunday. Then the Rockets have a total of 11 days off, although there are in that time, that's in between the time of when we will see 2 matchups get announced. The Rockets won't play until December 19th against the New Orleans Pelicans at home at 7 o'clock, but there are 2 games in that span where the Rockets do play 2 games, during the playoffs of the NBA Cup. We just don't know what those matchups are yet. The Rockets might be in the playoffs for the end season tournament. You never know. Then Sunday, December 22nd, the Rockets will travel to Toronto, where Fred VanVleet will potentially play his first game against the Raptors. Fred VanVleet last year in Toronto was not available, so that'd be very interesting. Another back-to-back, December 23rd, the Rockets will face the Charlotte Hornets at 6 o'clock in Charlotte. Then the day after Christmas, Thursday, December 26th, the Rockets will face the Pelicans in New Orleans at 7 o'clock. Another back-to-back, the Rockets will face the Minnesota Timberwolves at home. That starts a 5-game homestand, one of the longest homestands for the Rockets of the year, against the Minnesota Timberwolves at 7. Then the next game is Sunday, December 29th, against the Miami Heat at 6. Then on New Year's Day, the Rockets will face the Dallas Mavericks at home, 7 o'clock. Then Friday against the reigning champions Boston Celtics and Ime Udoka's former team at 7 on January 3rd. And these are the first games of 2025 as well. Then Sunday on January 5th, LeBron James and the Lakers will be in town to face the Rockets. LeBron James. That'll be a very interesting matchup. Then Tuesday, January 7th against the Washington Wizards in Washington at 6 o'clock. Thursday against the Memphis Grizzlies in Memphis at 7. And then Saturday on the 11th of January, 2 o'clock early game against the Atlanta Hawks. NBA TV game against the Memphis Grizzlies at home for the Rockets on the 13th of January at 7. The Rockets will travel to Denver, where they were very successful against last year, at an 8 o'clock game in Denver on the 15th of January. Then on Thursday, here's one of those first national television games against the Sacramento Kings in Sacramento for a TNT game at 9 o'clock Thursday, January 16th. January 18th will be a trip to Portland, playing the Blazers for a 9 o'clock game. Another early game for the Rockets on a Monday, January 20th, which that might be Martin Luther King Day if I'm not mistaken. 1 o'clock against the Detroit Pistons. Then January 22nd against the Cleveland Cavaliers. This is a weird 2-game series in Houston to face the Cavaliers Wednesday, January 22nd at 7 o'clock. Then Saturday, January 25th against the Cleveland Cavaliers in Cleveland at 6:30. So this is one of those 2-game series again, but since it's against the Eastern Conference team, there are some traveling involved. January 27th against the Boston Celtics, Ime Udoka returning to Boston for the second time at 6:30, January 27th. Here's that second TNT game as the Rockets will face the Memphis Grizzlies at 6:30 on TNT, January 30th. To open up February, the Rockets will play the Brooklyn Nets at 7 o'clock. That'll be an interesting matchup in Houston due to the all the draft picks that happened. No, the Rockets don't own the Nets draft picks anymore, or most of them, but it's still an interesting matchup. Then Monday, on February 3rd, the Rockets will be in New York in Madison Square Garden at 6:30 on NBA TV. This is just a whole New York trip. In Houston against Brooklyn on the 1st, in New York against the Knicks on the 3rd, and then in Brooklyn on the 4th for a back-to-back in Brooklyn on Tuesday the 4th. That's interesting, 6:30 matchup against Brooklyn. Thursday on the road in Minnesota, February 6th, 7 o'clock. Then on the 8th of Saturday, Dallas Mavericks, 2 o'clock game, another very early game. Sunday is February 9th against the Toronto Raptors, 1 o'clock in Houston, another very early game, back-to-back early games. Wednesday against the Phoenix Suns at home, 7:30. That will be an interesting matchup since the Rockets do own the Phoenix Suns picks now. Thursday, Houston will host Stephen Curry and the Warriors on the 13th of February, 7 o'clock. Then we will see the All-Star break happen. The Rockets won't be back until the 21st on a Friday, a week later, at home against the Minnesota Timberwolves at 7. Then on Saturday against the Utah Jazz, February 22nd at 8:30. Then Tuesday on the 25th, hosting the Milwaukee Bucks at 7 o'clock, February 25th. Then a back-to-back for the Rockets on February 26th at 8:30 p.m. on ESPN. That is my mom's birthday. Maybe I'll take her to the game, even though I don't think that's something she'll really want to do on her birthday. But that is an ESPN game. Then Saturday, to open up the month of March, they will face the Sacramento Kings at home, which wraps up a 3-game homestand at 7 o'clock. Monday in OKC, which opens up a 3-game road trip. against the Thunder on the 3rd, March 3rd, and then that's at 7. And then the Indiana Pacers in Indianapolis, Tuesday, March 4th at 6 o'clock. March 6th is New Orleans, 2-game series against New Orleans. First game is in New Orleans at 7 o'clock. Second game is in Houston at 6 o'clock on a Saturday, March 8th. Then March 10th is against the Orlando Magic in Houston, which opens up a 5-game homestand. This is a 6-game homestand. Starts off in New Orleans on the 8th. Then on the 10th of March is the Orlando Magic. Then the 12th of March is the Phoenix Suns. Then the 14th of March is the Dallas Mavericks at 7 o'clock. Then the 15th of March, we will have the Chicago Bulls. And then the 17th of March, the Philadelphia 76ers. And then the Rockets have a really hard schedule to finish out the season. And in the last about 10-12 games. Orlando Magic in Orlando on the 19th. Then the 21st of March, they'll be in Miami. They will host the Denver Nuggets on the 23rd of March. They will host the Atlanta Hawks on the 25th of March. That's an easier game. And then another easier game against the Utah Jazz, hosting the Jazz, or going to Utah. Then the final 2 games of the month of March, the Rockets will be in Phoenix and be in LA against the Lakers, 8 o'clock and 9:30. Then the final 6 games of the season, the Utah Jazz at home on the 2nd of on the 2nd of April, first game of April for the Rockets at 7 o'clock. Then Friday the 4th, so April 4th, the Rockets will face the Oklahoma City Thunder at home. Then the Rockets will travel on a West Coast trip, 3-game road trip in Golden State, 7:30 on NBA TV on April 6th. Then April 9th against the Clippers. April 9th is the Clippers at 9:30. Then April 11th, the Los Angeles Lakers, 9:30 on NBA TV. And then the final game of the season is against the Denver Nuggets on April 13th at home at 2:30. So it's a little bit of a hard schedule ending the season, but it's going to be a great year. And I'm going to do a record prediction video in a little bit of a separate video, but I love the schedule. It's a little bit of a hard schedule to start off. It's a little bit of a hard schedule, at the end. But I see the Rockets being in the top 10 of the Western Conference this year and getting in the play-in or playoffs. But I think it's a great schedule, and I'm excited for Rockets basketball to be back. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Peace out. Go Rockets.